Hello, ladies and gentlemen. George here, and today what I want to bring to you is a presentation, and it's not going to be comprehensive, start to end, and in terms of the rule book, but a very short and concise presentation about little known vehicle notes that you need to know about because they can be game changers. And if you're not aware of them and you're playing that particular vehicle in a tournament match or face to face, and you select that side and you own these vehicles, and you try to succeed in your shots, you might end up not succeeding. So, with no further ado, let's put on our thinking caps. Now, I am a little bit under the weather, but I decided to make a video in any case. So, I'm going to turn off the video capture and proceed with the presentation. Give you an overall um, summary of the important vehicle notes that I want you to know about, but there's more reading to be done in Chapter D after this presentation. And at the end of this presentation, we'll go to Vassal and do a couple of examples with the vehicles that I'm about to present to you. All right. So with no further ado, I've said that before, and we'll get started, but not before we have a little sip of Earl Grey tea with a little bit of cream in it. There you go. Let's hope everything goes well. All right. So the first thing I want to cover here is the little asterisk that you see to the right of the main armament presentation. So we're talking about this asterisk here, which is to the right of the main armament caliber. So this is a Panzer IV-E, as you can all see. This is a photograph straight out of the rule book. And you have a little asterisk here. So what does that asterisk means? It's pretty simple. Let's highlight it with a little arrow here. There we go, there's the arrow. So what this asterisk means, which remember, it's to the right of the main armament, firing at long range can be an issue. In other words, uh, you have a basic 2-hit number based on your range, but I believe if that range exceeds 6 hexes, then your effectiveness of the gun to be able to hit the target is gradually decreasing more compared to uh, regular guns on vehicles. Now, like I said before, I'm not going to go into every um, vehicle note, and Neil Ewan has produced a great chart for vehicle notes and what they stand for and whatnot. But the important stuff here is that if you don't know about this particular asterisk and you proceed to use this vehicle from a distance as opposed to getting up close and personal, chances are you won't use this tank effectively. And there are other notes here. You have heat 6 in ammunition, and 6 is the um, depletion number, smoke, AP, smoke discharger, and a crew survival of 6. Now, these are really basic stuff that you need to know, and you need to make a note of them on paper before you go into a match. Now, on Vassal, you can right click on the counter and it will give you the counter info as opposed to having to flip it over. But if you're playing live on cardboard and paper, what you do is you look at the reverse um, on the reverse of the counter and just jot down these numbers that are not clearly at in your vision. Now, with respect to your opponent's AFVs, you got to look them up in Chapter H and also make note of their weaknesses and strengths and ammo types. And again, that's important because you, based on what the attributes of each vehicle is, the characteristics of each vehicle, you'll have to take different decisions. All right. All right. So now let's go on to the other slide. Oh, there's another asterisk. Now, you see the asterisk has changed position. It's now to the left of the main armament. Now, that is a completely uh, different kettle of fish to begin with. And there's a little preview of what I'm about to tell you. So on the back of the counter, there's asterisks, red to hit numbers. Who would have known? And let's highlight it. There's the asterisks. And the asterisk to the right of the main armament, in this case, it denotes a special gun attribute that this uh, gun is in fact Italian and not German. So it's uh, an Axis minor weapon that's being used by the German army, but just the same, just because it has changed hands, it does not mean that it was manufactured for uh, for accuracy. So this is worse than having a asterisk on the right hand side because using the red to hit numbers is much worse than using the black. And we'll go through an example of this later on. What I did was I took all the vehicle counters that I'm presenting now and put them on the board with their most likely adversary. And speaking of their most likely adversary, when you look at Chapter H, the other important factor that you need to look at is the RF number or the rarity factor. So depending on the year that your scenario takes place, you can check and cross-reference the rarity factor in Chapter H to see if this tank was around then or not. So let's go on to the other slide. Now we've moved from asterisks to bars. I'm not talking about here I highlighted the caption as where is the bar, Johannes? The bar is above the main armament. So if the bar is above the main armament, I think most of us know this through the classic game, um, that that this gun has HE ammo only. So it's an assault gun and it's meant to be used not as a tank hunting vehicle, it's meant to be used against infantry. Hence the big caliber, so it can blow big holes in big buildings. Um, and it has a SZ is a close defense weapon, SD7 smoke discharger, smoke, H9. So it has a limited amount of heat ammunition in case it comes into um, armor versus armor combat. And a crew survival of 4, which is decent. The other important asterisk there denotes that the MG, or the AA gun, is a vehicular covered arc only AA gun. It's not a 360 mounted AA gun. And I think further digging may reveal that that AA gun was not mounted on that assault gun for all the years throughout the war. It's specific to certain years. All right, let's go to the other little important note. So just to uh, recap, above the MA, a bar above the main armament denotes the HE ammunition only. Good stuff. Where's the bar, Oliver? That's a bad British accent. Let me try again. Where's the bar, Oliver? Well, it's below the main armament now. So uh, here you have it, just below. And in this case, now ordinarily you see a 40L and you don't spot that little bar. You're going to say, hey, George, a 40L, isn't that on the 4 table? Well, guess what? Um, a bar below the main armament, right, means that it has AP ammunition only. And AP ammunition was created and meant to be used against armor plating, armor piercing. It's not meant to create a wide explosion to cover um, an infantry squad as a target. It's meant to hit a particular point on an armor plate and penetrate it. So below the main armament, AP ammunition only, and that is rule C8 Charlie 8.31 HE equivalency. If you have anything below 37 millimeters, that gun on the IFT table, the infantry fire equivalent, is only one firepower. And if it's greater than or equal to 37 millimeters, its fire is resolved on the 2 table, not the 4. And the other thing that's important here is it has smoke and a crew survival of 4. Good old Valentine. Now, the Panther, the good old Panther, Panzerwagen VG. Isn't this a beast? Look at it. Ha! 18 armor factors, and the turret, since it's circled, is weaker. So the lower factor is 14, but just the same, um, this tank is really overpowered. Um, but there's one little flaw. And now we see another asterisk, and this time the asterisk is to the left of the movement factors, which, as you might guess it, requires a mechanical reliability. And if you roll a 12, you subsequently have to roll for a stall right there. So this is another another piece of information you can get from Chapter H, reading the notes. And of course, the red uh, armor factor, the one red armor factor, means that it's a large target, so large that your opponent will get a -1 to his 2-hit dice roll just for targeting this hex, tank. Double L, it's really effective. The gun is really effective at long distance. Now, this tank's predecessor also had a star and a 15 in red, which was really worse. And it's meant to model the fact that this tank, in its early model version, had a defect with a gas line. Here we go. So denotes mechanical reliability check of 12 results in a stall DR delay. So I put capital DR, but I don't think I had a choice in whether, with the font that I'm using, whether it would be low DR or high DR. Give me a moment. Yeah, so this is note H in chapter H under the German vehicle notes. Each time a Panther G or Jack Panther expends 1 MP to start, its owner must make a DR, capital D, capital R. If a 12 is rolled, the AFE has stalled and has not actually begun to move. The owner must then immediately make another capital D, capital R, which equals the total number of delay, MP, including 1 to stop, but excluding the MP expended to start, that the AFE has used in the unsuccessful attempt to move. It can again attempt to move, but must expend another MP to start, and must undergo another stall DR as it does so. If the owning player forgets to make the stall DR, the opposing player can thereafter call for it to be made at any time during that same movement phase as the AFE expends any movement points. The AFV that stalls is subject to defensive first fire. An AFV that stalls is subject to defensive first fire since it has expended a movement point to start, but not as a moving target unless it has already entered a new hex during the movement phase. Should a stall result in more delay MP being expended than the AFV has available, the AFV is considered to have expended its entire movement allowance in delay. Now, the predecessor uh, to this model of a tank, also had another mechanical ability of 12. But subsequently to that, if a 12 was rolled on its mechanical reliability with a red star, red movement MP indicator, 12 would cause the AFE to result in a burning wreck. An 11 would be an immobilization, and a 10, uh, if a 10 is rolled, it has stalled. And that's really what would transpire in a scenario like the Mad Minute, where uh, such such early model Panthers were at the battle area. So that's the end of this presentation. Right? Vehicle notes. Know your vehicle notes. It can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Now, with that said, let's have some fun. All right, so let's zoom in on the map. And here's the first armored fighting vehicle that I spoke to you about with, and I selected an opponent for it. So we can do an example. All right. So here, let's turn it around. And this fellow is here, facing this direction. It's very odd that two armored fighting vehicles are facing each other in squad leader. Usually one moves up to the other, or moves around it and hits it in the rear. However, we're just putting them on the board so we can do a two-hit example. So we'll probably need the charts to do this. So we'll pull up the charts and see what we can do with them. So here are ordnance to hit. Okay. Do I have Niels charts? Niels charts look kind of neat. Ah, here, to hit. I like those charts. All right. So basically we have this tank. And if we look at the info, red to hit numbers. Okay. Now, any special ammo? None whatsoever. All right. Now, here, let's take a look at those notes. Nothing. It's just crew survival 5 and armor factor of 11. Weaker turret though. All right, so in order to determine who will fire first, I'm going to do a 1d6, and if it's an odd number, we'll fire him at him, and if it's an even number, he'll fire first. Okay? Great. All right, so let's do that rule. Odd, so the German is going to fire. All right, so the first thing you need to think about is what kind of ammunition you're going to fire. In this case, since our tank doesn't have any special ammunition, he'll have to fire AP, because anything else would be pretty ineffective against an armor factor of 11. Now, the other thing you need to think about is the fact that he is is the range, because if he was at a closer range, and we knew that that 75 could not uh, eliminate him, we could opt instead for a deliberate immobilization by adding 5 to our to hit number. And what that does is if you do immobilize him, he'll have to take a task check to stay in his vehicle. But if we do succeed in immobilizing him, every time we shoot at him again, he'll be subject to a task check. So let's check out the range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm declaring vehicular target type, and when we cross check that table, uh, that range number, we would be looking at this column, but using the red to hit numbers. So in this case, our beloved German/Italian tank to hit number would be an 8. However, there is no other however. There is no other however, because the star is not the what we need to look at, because the star is on the left hand side of the armor factor. If it was on the right hand side, this table would come into play, and I was wrong. It wasn't. It's not 6 hexes or more. It's after 12 hexes. You see that even if the gun would ordinarily use the black numbers, that basic to hit number would be reduced by 1 after a 12 hex range. So not to confuse you any more than I already have, since my star is to the left of the main armament designation number, I'm simply using the red to hit numbers. It's a range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Therefore, I have my basic to hit number is 8. So let's say none of them moved. The other factor that I have to take into consideration is that I am buttoned up. So basic would be 8, and there's no modifiers now here, but for the fire-based DRM, uh, I am buttoned up. So that is, we're all in the covered arc, case I +1 right there. Okay. All right, so I need a 7 to hit. Let's see what number I'm going to roll. To hit, 8. I miss, but he gets an ack. Now, if I wanted to intensify, let's say it was my prep fire phase, I want to intensify. Again, my basic to hit number would be an 8. Let's see if I can put this in Notepad++ or Notepad. There you go. So if I wanted to intensify, my base would be 8 to hit, and then buttoned up would be another +1 to my dice roll, and intensifier would be +3. And now my breakdown number will go down by 2, and that means I have a 4 to hit. Let's try it in any case. Came close, but now at least I fired the first shot. Oh, I forgot that I had an ACK. The ACK also counts. AQ is a -1. So I actually rolled a 5. So I did hit. Oh wow. All right, so now let's go to the 2 kill. Um, the 2 kill table. Vehicle 2 kill. This is a star 75. So a star 75. We have to find that caliber here. Not 75 star. Well, I could be wrong, but it's definitely not a 75 star. The 75 star here is something related to Japanese. The 75 here is apparently a Grant gun. And there's something here about Italian being gray. The only one I can find is that closely resembles to the caliber here would be a 75, actually. So let's say it's 14. The 2 kill number is 14. Now the other thing you need to look at is range. And at this range, there is no additional penetration that would increase the 2 kill number. So 14, and we got in fact, a hull hit on this second shot. So I need a 3 to kill, which would be 14 minus 11 for the armor factor. So let's see, 2 kill, boink, it bounced off. And let's not forget this fellow here has now a -2 acquisition. Now it's the T-34's time to shine. And they also use the red to kill numbers. They're a range of 10 hexes away. It might be easy to find the Russian caliber a lot easier than the strange weapon. They're a little known because I guess they don't pop up in too many scenarios. Who wants to use these tanks to create a scenario? I'm not sure. Let's see what happens here. All right, let's call up the charts again. There we are. Okay, so let's go to ordnance to hit. I like needle charts better. All right, so 10 X's away, and definitely since they're Russian, we're going to have to use um, the red to kill numbers. He's buttoned up. Case I, that's +1 to my dice roll. See a small target? Let's take off that. No, it's an ordinary target. So 7 to hit. Base 8 +1 because I'm being buttoned up. 8. Missed. We missed. Put him down there. So if I want to intensify, can I intensify? I don't think so. Because we're not adjacent. We could only defensive fire if it was we're firing at him during his movement phase. Okay. So that's that example. All right, let's take into consideration this example here. Now we definitely have a 75 star. Let's replace these guys. Let's move them off the board for now and put our markers here. You can have your little ACK. Now I matched up these two guys, these two units, to have a little battle. Let's put them a little further. Just like that. And a little bit further here. I think this is this kind of does the trick. Or you can put them um, behind the edge. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens here now. we'll have the German player attack the T-34 first. All right, so let's take a now. Before you go any further again, let's see. Do we have any special ammo? Yeah, we have heat and AP7. So the first thing you need to think about is what kind of ammo am I going to shoot and announce it. So in this case, uh, I'm going to announce armor piercing 7. Okay, yeah. So that's the most important thing that you need to know. And let's take a look at the range now. The range is 14. Great. And this guy is a 75 star. So a range of 14, we have two issues to think about. Hold on one sec. Yeah. All right. So APCR, APDS also modifies uh, your or lowers the effective range. So at a range of 14, he's a star type weapon. Um, so the your basic range, your basic to hit number needs to be reduced by 1. So the problem here is that since the T-34 is a range of 14 and he is a star type weapon, right? Because we have 75 star, we have a modified a, a two-hit modifier of -1 for being a star type weapon, and since I also uh, declared AP ammunition, I get another -1 to my uh, modified to hit number. These basic to hit number modifiers are cumulative, and that's rule Charlie C Charlie 4.5. So basically, I'm starting off with a basic to hit number of 5. So let's go to the little notepad and jot that down. So basic to hit number at 14 is a 7. And then um, that is subsequently reduced because star and range is another -1. Okay. And then AP ammunition is another -1. So now I'm down to a net 5 or subtotal 5. And then I'm buttoned up, that's +1. He's not a large target, but he should get the TEM of for the hedge for another +1. And I don't yet have an acquisition. So overall, after it's all said and done, maybe it was not a wise choice to choose AP ammunition, but this means that I have to roll a 3. And if I roll 7 or more, that might be no more AP ammunition. So let's see how I'll fare. To hit, I rolled a 10, so I do not have AP ammunition to begin with. I don't get a knack, but I just label my gun with no AP ammunition. And it's as if I didn't fire. So I can fire again. Now, when we look at the modifiers, I still have to roll based on a net 5 to hit number because the star modifier in the AP, no, now the AP ammunition modifier is out of the question. So that basic number is reduced only to a 6. Buttoned up, that's +1. +1 for the TEM. That makes it a 4 to hit. I got 2 of them. That's still a miss. and I get an ACK, roll down an ACK, and now I have the choice of intensifier. Let's say it's my prep fire phase. And if I intensify, we get a another +2 and a -1 acquisition comes into play now. So that's not much better than what we had before. Basic 6, +1 for buttoned up, +1 for TEM, +2 for intensifier, -1 for the ACK. That would be a 3 to hit. And I can mouth my gun on the 10. Let's do it, what the heck. Well, I didn't mouth my gun, but I missed. And my ACK now becomes a 2. And when his turn comes to fire, he's a 76L gun. And he's 14 hexes away. So let's look at the charts again. All right, so at 14 hexes away, he's Russian. His basic 2-kill number is 7, but since he's an L-type weapon, um, that increases by +1. So we got a basic 8 to hit. All right, so for the Russian player now, we got 8 to hit, 7, and then this is +1, L-type weapon. So that's an 8. Buttoned up applies, +3 TEM, because that fellow is in the woods. And that's about it. So that too requires a 4 to hit. That's a critical hit. I wasn't expecting that. But basically, that means this guy more or less is a burning wreck. I wasn't expecting that. That was an improbable shot, man. All right, so let's look at the 2-kill table. Things happen that are really, really strange. Let's see. All right, so let's look at the vehicle 2-kill table. Let's go back here. So this is a Russian 76L. It's ordinarily a 13 to kill. We hit the turret. Not that it matters. It only matters. It's a weaker turret. So I think the lower factor is a 4 after a 6. Let's take a look. Yeah, a 4. So that 12 now becomes a 24. So a Russian player needs anything but boxcars to blow this guy to Kingdom Come. Alright, so let's roll into kill table. Nearly. Alright, rolled an 11. Rolled an 11. And it's not less than half of the 2-kill number. 24. It is actually. Um, so a burning wreck, according to Bravo 25.14, here's where it gets a little bit intricate. A wreck blaze occurs anytime a vehicle is eliminated by a flamethrower or mole attack less than the required kill number, by a 2-kill die roll less than or equal to, so the conditions are slightly different and makes sense, I think. The final 2-kill number, half of the final 2-kill number. Um, by an IFT-DR less than or equal to half of the star vehicle IFT, and a by CC attack DR less than equal to half of the highest DR needed to kill. So less than or equal to half of the final 2-kill number. So the final 2-kill number was actually a 20. actually a 20, and I should have rolled, in that case, a 10 or a 9 in order to cause a burning wreck. So it's not a burning wreck. So what that tells you is you need to consult the notes again because you have a crew survival of 6. You've got to roll that number. And were it not for one number, I would have had a little crew counter here. Okay, and a vehicle crews look slightly different. So if we pull out the counters, and just to show you the vehicle crews, so here's a vehicle crew, a 127. This is your regular run-of-the-mill uh, 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 crews that are used for guns and for machine guns, heavy machine guns. But this is a vehicle crew, a 127. Let's delete them. All right, so let's. Oh, we did a star type weapon. Okay, okay, let's do another example here. We'll put this fellow in here. I'll put a little Valentine there. A little Valentine. A little Valentine. It's let's get rid of this guy. Put him on the side. Clean up, everybody do your share. I like that song. Um, it wasn't around during my days. It was around during my son's days in preschool. And now let's put a little infantry squad as well. 467. And give him a little support weapon because, of course, Germans had support weapons. Everybody else didn't. And a 7.0 leader. Yeah. Don't wound him. Wilts. There you go. Now the question is, um, if you are an experienced player and you are familiar with your vehicle notes, uh, which target is better suited for your tank? Is it the infantry or is it the tank? And the answer to this question, I won't pause the video, is definitely the tank because this fellow only has AP ammunition. And with a 40L, he'd be firing in the 2 table, 2 up 2, or 2 even, which would require a roll of 6 or less to get anything effective. But on the to kill chart, if you take a look at 40L weapon, is a 10. Yeah, and a 10 is uh, a 10 is enough to really blow them up if you wanted to. So in this case, it's a straight up 10 to hit. Let's say he has the initiative now. It's his prep fire phase, and he selects the right target. Rolls a he needs a base 10, which is pretty simple. Um, hold on, right? To hit, basically at that range, close range, it's a 10. To hit, +1 for being buttoned up. There's no terrain modifier, so it's actually a 9 to hit. So let's roll it. And I hit. He gets an ack. Never forget your acks, because if you do, you're selling yourself short. And now we got a hull hit. Not that it matters. So now, if we look at the to kill number for our 40L, it's here it is, 10. Now the other thing you need to look at is that this is a 40L, so it's at this um, this row because that basic 10 can be modified by your range modifiers. But at this range, 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away, there isn't any. If I was closer, that to kill number would have increased by 1. Also, rear target facing can increase your to kill number by 1. All right, so um, I need a 9 or less to kill that guy, to knock him out. So let's do that. Hey! How many? How many? Anyway, it is what it is. All right, so that is my second to last example. Okay, so let's get these guys off the board. I put these snipers there just as a reminder to let you know that to kill numbers and to hit numbers, I believe, can activate snipers. And if your crew is exposed, they can be subject to a sniper check. So let's put Lieutenant Wiltz on the side as well. Let's go on with our final. Um, sorry for that. Our final example, and we'll do this uh, this model of the Panther. Okay. All right. So in this case, it's his movement phase, and this is he's watching out to see where the tanks would come from. So let's do a little bit AFE movement and see where we can get at. So right off the bat, what you need to tell your opponent is, don't forget the your mechanical reliability check rolls. I did not roll a 12. If I did, it would be I would need a subsequent DR for a delay. Starts for 1, 2. Now, it's right down the hex spine. You have loss, but he only expended 1 movement point in your loss. So you might want to hold your fire. So he continues. 3, 4. Now he expended 1, 2, 3 movement factors in your line of sight. So now he becomes a little bit of a better target. And the other item that you need to take into consideration is the target size. How can you miss this uh, enormous fire-breathing dragon coming down your throat? All right, so let's decide to attack now. Let's do a loss check. 7 hex range. He's a double L weapon, but at the 7 hex range, you can look it up yourself, or um, you can believe me that the basic to kill number is 9. There's no modification for being a double L gun. So let's take a little bit of a note here. So basic to hit number now is 9. He expended 3 movement points in my line of sight, so no L modifier. I do get +1 for being buttoned up, and I get +3 for case J and J1. J1, okay. And he's a large target. So in terms of uh, target size, so target size is case P, as in Papa, I get another -1. So it's a 6 to hit. 9 and the net to hit modifiers are 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 to hit. Let's see what happens. Okay, got him. And I got rate, so I'm not going to be marked at first fire. And now, that was a That was a turret hit. He has a weaker turret, so his for 76L, all right, his actual armor rating is 11, 11, and I need a 23 to kill. So 23 minus 11 is anything but a 12 to kill the fellow. So the Panther is not as powerful as we think it is. Let's do it. And he's gone. And most likely, in this case, he is a burning wreck. And there is no possibility of crew survival. So the myth of being invincible, an invincible German in a Panther tank, nope. This is more like barbecuing at the schnitzel. Yep. So I hope that the main takeaway of this video, and it's gone 52 minutes, but you guys have shown me an immense amount of support by watching 3-hour videos. So I think that the major takeaway uh, from this video is you really need to know all these peculiar and obscure vehicle notes before you go into battle, because ultimately knowing uh, what are the special characteristics of your vehicle can mean a difference between life and death, and victory and defeat in Advanced Squad Leader. Um, that's all for today, folks, and I'd like to thank once again all my viewers for uh, their support in viewing the videos and keeping this channel alive, and spreading word about it across the world. Have a good one. Take care.